Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. After over 2 years of talking about this film, we're going to culminate our turkey film celebration in November with the one and only 1988 classic, Mac and Me. This is your host, Trevor. Joining me as usual is...
Oh, I'm so happy. This is Prague, everybody.
The only thing missing in this movie was Mac tonight. This is DeLorean Wolfgang.
It was
wow,
close,
guys. You know what, Prague? I think I understand what you see in this movie.
Oh, do you?
When I sat down to watch this movie, I said, you know what? I'm going to put myself in Prague's shoes. I'm going to look at this movie the way Prague would. And no joke,
Okay.
I think that helped.
Okay.
I think it helped.
Because this is an awful movie, so I don't know how to prepare for it, unless you're me. So,
I found that through my research for Mac and Me, everybody hates this movie. But honestly, it wasn't all that bad. There were a few scenes that was a little dumb, but for the most part, it really isn't that terrible of a movie.
well, why don't you tell everybody at home what the synopsis of this film is that we're talking about today? This turkey of a film.
If you go onto IMDb will tell you that this movie is about an alien trying to escape from NASA is befriended by a wheelchair-bound boy. And that is all you get from IMDb.
That about sums up the film.
But it's out of this world and into your heart.
Oh, adorable. Now, the one thing that I feel like we've been missing with the turkey movies is, and I regret it now, I wish we would have done this before, is find the scores for the movies. Like,
we can maybe do that at the end of this.
Maybe. Yeah, I'll look that up. But for this movie, on IMDb, through Metascore, this has a 26, which is not
bad.
Very good. Is it not bad? Is that out of 100?
There are worse.
Single-digit movies.
Yeah.
Single-digit movies.
Just saying, they're out there.
I mean, what's really interesting is that this movie doesn't come out until 1988, and it's heavily inspired by E.T., which came out in 1982. So it took a while for this movie to actual release, and you know that it didn't take too long to actually shoot and film, and there's no post-production work at all. So it got streamlined real quick. I don't know what the long delay was.
So apparently, their budget was significantly more than E.T.'s, by the way, which I don't know where they spent the money.
Where did it go? Wait, hold on. How much was E.T.'s budget?
I forget, but it's significantly less. I think it's almost half.
Because this budget is $13 million.
13 million to make Mac and Me?
Yes, 13 million.
Yeah. So I think E.T. was like around 3 or 4 million.
Did they hide this movie in the desert with all those E.T. video games?
Yes, they probably did, actually, if you look. Dig hard enough, they might be out there. But this was supposed to be a film that was going to be like the next generation's E.T., even though it only came out several years later, not like a decade or two later. So, whatever.
Well, and they definitely tried to set it up at the very end with that silly cartoon, like, thought bubble that says, "We'll be back."
And they never did.
Spoiler, there's no sequel to this movie.
No sequel.
Yet.
No Mac and Me 2.
Yet. Okay? Just put it out there. There might be a sequel someday. You never know. Everything's coming back now. It's the new thing.
Now,
before,
Prague,
I wanted
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, before we dive into this episode, I wanted to give a little bit of background as to why I think I enjoy this movie and almost no one else does. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I grew up a block away from a flagship McDonald's store. So this is one of their like big HQ McDonald's that has like the giant playland in the back, and the inside is decked out with all the crazy, horrific like chairs that looked like hamburgers, and the tree that had like the apple pies on them. It had all that stuff going for it. And it had some parking lot where they would have festivals, and Ronald McDonald, the actor who played him, would come and show up and throw parties. Like, it was a big deal. So it was a big part of my childhood. So like to see a film like that representing a big part of my childhood, I'm sure that had to have had some sort of effect on me when I watched the movie growing up. And just how stupid and silly it was, I guess, maybe. But I think that's why I have such an affinity for this film. It just, how sometimes there's like that one movie, no matter how good or bad it is, just you watch it at just the right time in your life that it just hits no matter what.
Yep. Okay.
It's just at the right time, right? Like maybe that was the happiest you've ever been. Maybe it's like the coolest point in your life. And like for whatever reason, that movie showed up at that time. So you're just always going to have like some sort of hold on that film. And I think that happens to a lot of people, because I hear a lot of people that talk about other films. I'm like, you like that movie? Like that's your favorite? They're like, well, yeah, because I grew up with that. I saw that when I was in 6th grade and we went on this field trip. I'm like, okay, I get it now. There's this like an attachment to it that's kind of outside the film itself, really.
I tell you what, I was listening to another podcast today that was talking about Mac and Me, and they were telling a story about a guy who grew up with Mac and Me before he even saw E.T. So E.T. was the rehash of Mac and Me to this kid. So he grew up loving Mac and Me, and then he learned about E.T. and was like, well, this is just a ripoff of Mac and Me. And I tried putting that into my brain, thinking that Mac and Me is a better movie than E.T. I couldn't wrap my head around that one. That was way too tough. I don't know how you feel about E.T., but
so I grew up with E.T. as well, and I have no idea which film I saw first, because I watched so much film growing up, and I love both of them. Like I love E.T. It's one of my favorite films. So I love both of them for just different reasons, I guess. I mean, E.T. is obviously a much better film, but I can enjoy them equally. I will say that I do watch Mac and Me more often than E.T. So there's that. It's just so goofy. It's so stupid. Like this, like I'll watch it. Like I'll watch it. Like I watched it again this weekend just because. Like I mean, I didn't have to. I've seen it enough. But I watched it again, and I'm just laughing at how absurd it is. Like it just makes me giddy. It's like the funniest thing in the world. How dumb it is, and how blatantly it is an advertisement for McDonald's and Coca-Cola.
Oh, isn't it bad?
Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
No, we'll get there. We should probably do socials and stuff in a minute here before we get too carried away. So.
Okay, well, before we jump into socials really quickly, I had to check out the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie. Now, I know originally the Rotten Tomatoes score was 0% for this movie, which is one of the only movies that has a 0%. That's moved up now. So the tomato meter has 4%. The audience score is 38%.
Yes.
So it's definitely at this point I do feel like this movie is a cult movie. I'm not going to call it a cult classic at this point. Maybe another 5 years.
There's a small following. For sure.
Well, the fact that you own a shirt with Mac's face on it.
Yeah, they do sell the shirt. So
yeah. Anyways, well, you can listen to all of our episodes over on crossthestreamsmedia.com. You can also send in voicemails, which we got one. It was a joke one for this episode. It was a joke one. Thanks a lot, Ed Pogue. But I'm not going to play it. Even more exciting is our new, voicemail feature. I should have skipped that line. Wow, I'm reading this. Hello. All of this is at Cross the Streams Media. You can find us on our socials at Secondary Heroes everywhere. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing the new screen. We've changed up our YouTube just a little bit. So now you've got an intro, maybe even some fun things in between. We don't know yet. We're going to build out we're going to build this thing out and make it more fun for everybody. But all of this is free for you. It's priceless to us. Let's get into this movie.
More fun for everyone. See, it's a rhyming thing, not more fun for everybody. It's so broken.
Wait, did I screw that up?
No, I'm just saying from a purely linguistic standpoint.
It's like a motto for a company,
Yes.
Like McDonald's, for example.
Oh, man. Well, okay. I do got to ask. Did you guys ever have a McDonald's birthday?
Yeah.
A McDonald's birthday party?
Oh, for sure.
No, I had no idea what that mean. I asked everyone I could, how is that even a real thing? So, okay, yeah.
It was.
I will say... I did too.
Yeah, good. So, well, I also grew up right behind one, right? It was like a block away, so it would make sense to have them there. But I would say Bullwinkle's was the one that I went to the most for my birthday because there's
Okay.
more to do. You know, you had arcades and stuff there and shows.
Well, and
So,
we had Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah. So when I was
right,
old
same
enough to
idea.
actually, when I was old enough to actually play around and do like arcade games, Chuck E. Cheese became the thing. But when I was a little kid, yeah, I did like, I want to say I was maybe 4 or 5. And the only reason why I know this is because my parents have home videos of me like stacking Big Mac. Like it was a game. Who could stack the Big Mac cartons the
Oh,
highest?
are we gonna post this video anytime soon, Alex?
If my mom could find that video, I'll rip
Oh,
it. I'll buy
nice.
the equipment because I've got my VCR, and
Please do.
all I need
Please
is
do.
one little piece of equipment to connect it to the computer, and I will rip that. Oh, that would be kind of fun.
That'd be kind of fun. That'd be great to see that. I think that whole fad like died out back in the early 80s. Like I can't remember having a birthday at McDonald's past 7, 8 years old,
Right.
maybe at the most.
Yeah.
That was like mid 80s. So I'm old.
Well, and at that point, you're old enough to where it's like, no, I don't
No,
want to go
yeah,
to
you're gonna do other
McDonald's.
things. Of course.
Yeah. I want Chuck E. Cheese. I want the arcades. I want to play with my
Yep.
friends. I want to be at the park. I want to be outside. Even though they had the really cool the slip and the slides, so nobody ever used them because it was hotter than Hades in those
Yeah.
things.
They were. It was gross too.
The plastic was practically melting. But none of this, actually, all of this has something to do about this movie because
Yeah,
this was a
unfortunately, 'cause
McDonald's
it's one giant
movie.
advertisement.
There was a point in the movie where I was like, you know what? I should just take tally marks every time I see product placement. But I would have filled up my page
Yeah, you would have
like
filled up
Trevor's
whole journal.
notepad.
Yes, indeed.
So, where should we start with this film, folks?
So,
bring it on.
Prague, you explained your reasoning for the film. Alex, do you have an opinion of the film?
I think it's fun. I was watching, I mean, it was fun enough. I was watching it with my wife and daughter. Well, the second half of the movie with my wife and daughter. And then my wife hates E.T. She thinks E.T. is creepy.
Oh, the dog.
And
yeah, a lot of people do.
And she sat there and watched this movie. And I'm like, Stace, how are you watching this movie right now? These monsters are scarier than E.T. And they're not monsters, they're aliens, whatever. But
yeah, they look like melted ball sacks, but you know, whatever.
like
they do. They're awful looking.
How about you, Trevor? Did you ever have like was this a part of your childhood at all?
This movie came out the year I was born.
Yeah, so I'm like, how was it?
Well, what? Did you guys not own a VCR or a VHS?
Not to put on Mac and me.
No.
You never know, man. Every McDonald's, they sold the VHS in every McDonald's.
But no, for me, I feel like I wanted to see why Prague liked it, and I don't get it because I feel like it was like whatever movie Prague said where he didn't care one way or the other. I didn't not like it. I just thought it was too boring to care. Like,
right.
I understand bad sequences, but it was just too... It just never felt like it was over the top bad. It just felt like it was poorly written and poorly structured. It didn't feel like,
it was.
Oh, we're purposely going out our way to be bad. Or,
oh, they're not. They were trying to make a good
no
movie.
idea what a good movie is, and this is what happens. It just felt like it was kind of there.
Yeah. That might be why a lot of critics didn't like it either. You know, sometimes critics will give like a film credence for that. Like, oh, well, it's obviously a camp kind of thing. Whereas I think with this, it probably was just a half-ass attempt to, you know, make a McDonald's advertisement rip off of E.T. Which, yeah, can be pretty boring for anyone who is over the age of 6 years old, I would think.
Yeah. Now, no joke. My daughter sat next to me. She's only 15 months. She sat next to me and watched half this movie, and I was really impressed by that. I just maybe
that's
they
should have marketed it.
Okay, I'll tell you
Babies
what, man.
Love it.
Maybe that's why I think I liked the movie is because my daughter actually sat there and like she was holding my hand. She was just being super cute and super sweet, and we were watching the movie together. And I'm like, well, now I really like this movie. Son
Nice.
of
Oh,
son
it's
of
like
a
a
bee
little
sting.
bonding moment with the two of you. That's cute.
I didn't even think of the Mac Tonight thing until your intro. They were so
Neither
close
did I. Yeah, they
to
were.
have a Mac. Like Mac Tonight was super hot in 1988. I don't know why you
Huh.
have the Mac name. He doesn't even show up in some kind of background reference or anything.
My only guess is that they wanted to market this movie towards kids, and I don't know if Mac Tonight was meant to be for kids. I think that was more for the
No.
adult audience.
I know, but
Yeah.
it's more just a shout
Maybe.
out.
Yeah, I know
Because
it's weird. I don't know why.
the McDonald's aspect is weird because that part was actually fun just in how absurd the whole dance. Like there was a
Right.
flash mob.
Like
I
it makes no
hated
before
sense,
flash
right?
mobs existed, and
Right.
Hated
it,
all
wa-
of
it was
that,
a
yes.
really well done flash mob. But within that, there's this Ronald McDonald there, and he was just so creepy. His
Mhm.
face is particularly creepy. He looks over at this one girl with the creepiest thirsty eyes I've seen in a long time, and they just let it fly.
Yep. So, by the way, that was the official Ronald McDonald who was in all the commercials.
That's
back in
even
the day.
Right.
worse.
And that's
Yeah.
why I recognized. I
I
was like,
know.
oh my god, wow! I remember that guy.
Yeah, creepy.
He's so creepy.
He actually he won a Razzie for that performance, by the way. So there you go. That's how bad it
Well,
was.
There was, I believe, I want to say in my research that I found out that this movie won 4 Razzies.
Oh, nice. Not bad. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
ooh,
Oh,
very
very
prestigious.
nice. Oh,
Mm,
exciting.
yes.
So, how do you guys want to talk about the actual structure? Just dive into it. Favorite parts, worst favorite. How do you want to dive into this
I don't even know.
fantastic masterpiece of 80s commercialism?
I think it was too vague. The movie was so vague on everything. Like, what was the moon that they were on? Why were we scooping up rocks? Why did they get sucked in through a vacuum for some reason? And why is vacuums their biggest enemy?
It's like Signs. Why water? Who knows? Doesn't make any sense.
Why does with Signs, why does a alien that can't be touched by water go to a water
You
planet?
just have to suspend your belief for a bit and watch this stupid movie that makes no sense. So NASA, for whatever reason, was also very hot in the mid 80s, like the hottest thing. It was in all the movies, all the toys, like everything was NASA. So that was just a thing back then. So that's why they were involved everywhere.
In terms of a couple things that kept me interested, one is that the actor who plays Eric is actually in a wheelchair in real life, and
Right.
I respect that casting a lot.
I
The
think that's
other
awesome.
is that it's based in Calabasas, and that's where Michelle grew up, and so I'm relatively familiar with it. And I also am familiar that this lady, who is their mother, it's her first day working in 10 years. And she works at Sears, and somehow she affords a 3-bedroom place in Calabasas. I know it's not as hot of a market in '88 as today, but
on top of a hill.
Yeah,
On top
it's
of a
at the
mountain.
end of a cul-de-sac. And Calabasas, if you don't know, it's relatively rich now because that's where like the Kardashians live, and so it's all kind of money. But even back then, it's just north of kind of the Santa Monica mountain range where Malibu is. It's not affordable land.
You know, it could be because they don't say what happens to the dad. Maybe she killed the dad and got his money.
I was guessing there was dad money somewhere, and they just didn't mention
that's what I'm
it
thinking.
at all.
But that's the thing, and that's one of the flaws of the movie is they made a point in the beginning of the movie where they looks at the picture of dad longing and like, oh, it's my dad, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we're never gonna revisit this again.
That's most of the movie. You're going to mention something and never revisit it again. Like that guy at NASA, that scientist, he'll never show up again to the very end of the film for some reason. Like, let's introduce all these characters to never deal with them ever again. It's great. I love it.
Right. Well, and who knows? Maybe the dad died and left a bunch of money through insurance. I'm doubting the mom killed him.
It's more fun,
better movie,
right?
I need a Mac and Me prequel where
what's the
mom
Mac and Me
kills the dad
prequel?
and gets out of Illinois.
I don't like that. This was a cute movie. I don't need skeeziness to it.
Well, it wasn't that cute of a movie. Another standout was how tragic the other 3 aliens are. They have the most tragic storyline. They're dying. And interestingly enough, the intro, it looks like it's filmed in the Mojave Desert when they're on an alien planet.
Mhm.
But then they're walking around literally the Mojave Desert after they leave the
Mhm.
NASA base. It's the same place that they shot in, but now they're dying.
And now they're dying.
Funny.
So here's the thing that I kept thinking about is the fact that when Mac gets out, he for some reason gets onto an interstate and goes to people's house and goes to this family's house. Now the other family or his family, all the other aliens, they somehow end up in the middle of a desert. Like how did that happen?
These are not questions I ever asked myself at 6 years
Air
old when I
Force
watched
Base
this.
should be in the desert. It's like Independence Day, where it's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
But
as it
I don't know
be.
how Mac got to the main. I understand they're driving from Illinois to the LA area, but
I think it's because the force of the helicopter blew him so far and so fast, like a tumbleweed. He was an alien tumbleweed.
Oh man,
Made it out.
Do you have one of those stretchy arms like Mac? Because you're really reaching on this one.
Ah.
Well, I mean, there's the part where he smacks it on the windshield. He's completely flattened, and he has those big googly.
The googly eyes
Come
are
on,
great.
That's great. Oh, good times, man.
Anytime they had his eyes do anything weird was fantastic.
Yeah, the stretchy thing where he's like grabbing onto the fence and his whole body is like elongated.
Oh my god! Great. Okay, did you guys get like with scenes like that? Did you kind of get a little bit of like Twilight Zone feels? Remember the Twilight Zone movie where the cartoon comes out of the TV? Like I got like super like, whoa, this is like Twilight Zone happening, and I'm like, this is pretty rad.
It was weird referential stuff because at the start there's a Predator style music when the aliens are kind of like intimidating and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then they have so Predator would come before this, but then there's the glass scene where the aliens are against the glass and the scientists, and that's just like Independence Day, which comes after this. So Independence Day is inspired by Mac and Me, surprisingly enough. And then when the aliens break out through the fence, there's a scene that looks just like V for Vendetta, where there's all the glowing lights, and he's just silhouetted against the wreckage and explosions in the background. So I was surprised how influential Mac and Me was to future movie creators.
See? Exactly. I've been saying this all along, guys. It's the most influential movie of the 20th century.
Well, the music, man, the music choices.
I feel like this movie didn't know what it really wanted to be, because I told my wife, oh, this is a kid's movie. This is a movie marketed for children. But there are some scenes in this movie where it's like, this is a horror movie. This is a straight up horror movie I would never show my kids. And then it'll go into, oh, hey, we got a race car. Wee. Yeah, this is fun. Yep. And then next scene will be a drill coming through the wall, like inches from the kid's face. And it's like, whoa, hold on. Now we're back into horror movie mode.
Yep. I mean, don't forget the big shootout scene at the very end.
The shootout, and then the kid in the wheelchair gets shot.
And then the whole place blows up, like the biggest explosion that ever happened in the 80s. And the kid dies.
Wonder where the budget goes. There was a giant car wreck. There was a huge explosion.
The car combination crash scene at the start was pretty good, where the one like
the Bronco jumps
up and crashes. Yeah.
Once I saw that, I said, "That's where the entire budget went."
Or that whole chase scene inside of Sears as well. I'm sure they had to destroy a Sears.
They had to explode all those TVs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's big budget, man.
Did you look at the TVs? It was like the wood, like the really heavy wood TVs. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We had one.
They don't make TVs like that anymore. Now they're all super thin. I want like a whole place to store stuff.
I want to see football fans get so mad at their football team and punch a CRT TV instead of a flat screen, just so I can laugh at them even more.
I've tried to break in one of those TVs before. It's impossible. I've tried every kind of bat, hammer, everything.
I have a CRT TV sitting right next to me.
It just won't break.
It's got wood grain on the side, and it still works perfectly.
Yeah, man. They don't make them like they used to. Let me tell
They
you.
don't.
Anyways, back to the film.
Oh yeah,
So-
the movie we were talking about.
A lot of really strong performances, I feel, in this movie. A lot. You know, like especially the little girl next door. Like, what class acting from a child actor? It's just amazing.
If you do,
Right?
if you do listen to our intro, there is a part of the intro where the little girl goes, "Shh, I'm communing with the earth spirits," and the brother says, "Welcome to California, bud." That's from this movie, people.
I
That
made note of it because I had no like. You told me that
You
reference
didn't
was
know?
Macamee, but I wasn't gonna watch the movie to find out.
Like, I'm never gonna watch this movie. I don't care. And now here we are.
Here we
And he
are
did.
talking away.
Oh, I love
Wow.
how culturally offensive this movie is. Yeah, that was fun. That's
The kids
So,
couldn't have been more annoying though.
oh no,
okay.
they're absolutely obnoxious.
I thought the older brother was pretty good, except that he was
Well, he's a real.
driving.
He's like,
I couldn't
Yeah.
no, I couldn't tell how old he was. I thought he was like 14 and he's driving his mom to work and then he's driving across the desert. Like,
I thought he was
whoa,
18 in the movie, but
Oh,
Yeah, I thought he
he
was 18
looks like
too.
he's 14.
he doesn't look 14.
Him.
Okay.
Dude, I have no idea what people look like anymore. Now,
I haven't
one
been
thing I
outside
did
in
wanna
5
bring up-
years.
I wanted to bring up. You mentioned that the kid in the wheelchair is an actual paraplegic.
Mhm.
He also did all of his own stunts.
He did. It's
So-
fantastic, actually. If you look
Isn't
at the
that
stunt work,
insane? The
That's pretty
fact that
good.
they put a kid in danger like that, but they had like stunt, like whenever he's going down the hill, they actually had people standing behind trees there just in case he was to go out of control, just to catch him.
yeah, that's
Like,
one of the. I would
isn't
say
it
that's one
crazy?
of the good things about this film is his stunt work. Like, say what you want about the movie, it is terrible, but his stunt work, that's pretty darn impressive. I mean, I wouldn't do that. Just saying.
No, go down a hill in a wheelchair, and then there's a
Yeah.
cliff.
No thanks.
Eric, no.
Wait, by the way, that scene, I know it's iconic now because of Conan O'Brien, but that dubbing in that scene, if you watch that scene closely, like so much of this film is poorly dubbed, like to the point where she's literally just gaping, like her mouth is gaping, right, and she's talking the whole time. Yeah. Oh God, so bad. So bad.
So another notable thing about this movie is that it's the debut of Jennifer Aniston. You guys, but I couldn't find her.
Yeah, you have to like. I never noticed this until it was brought up online, and there's a video online somewhere where they like freeze frame it real quick because it's a blink and you miss it. It's one frame only. That's it. So
Oh,
she's in there.
that's ridiculous, man.
It's in the scene with McDonald's where they're all dancing and they're clapping, and she's just shown for 2 seconds. That's it.
Yeah, then that wasn't even worth me bringing up, and it's not worth anybody else bringing up in their podcast talking about this movie.
Yeah, everyone does. It's okay. We had to do it. It was obligatory. It's in our
So did you
contract.
guys end up having a favorite scene at all? Well, Prague, I know that half this movie is your favorite scene, so
The whole movie? No. I'll let you guys talk about favorite scenes. I doubt there's going to be any, but if there is,
oh
you
no,
gotta
I
choose
definitely
one.
have one.
Well, go ahead. You're
Well,
talking.
I want Trevor to talk sometime in this podcast.
I don't think Trevor liked this movie at all, so I don't think he's going to talk much.
I just didn't care that it existed. It
Yeah,
felt like a
see?
waste of my
Exactly. This
time.
is going to be me and you.
But no, I think my favorite sequence is just the idea of the McDonald's scene where they literally are going to McDonald's. So they drive all the way downhill. They're driving just on Valley Vista. The guy's trailing them specifically says that they get to this McDonald's. They have this whole flash mob, and then they're leaving with Mac.
God,
And somehow, out the back door of the McDonald's, they're at the top of their neighborhood. There's no, it's just somehow the McDonald's teleported through time and space to now be at the top of the neighborhood just so he could roll down his neighborhood street again in the wheelchair. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And it was hilarious.
It's great. It's good times. All right, Alex, what's yours?
I feel for me, the whole McDonald's scene, the dance scene, the Mac being dressed up as a teddy bear, all that stuff throw it out. That was the
Choice.
absolute worst part of this whole movie. I hated it. Hated it.
Yes.
Anyways,
yes.
but that's not.
Your hate is fueling me. It's only making me stronger. You have no idea.
My favorite part is when Mac had his little RC car and he's being chased by the dogs.
Yeah, okay.
I couldn't stop laughing. I thought that was so funny seeing him in that little car. Where did the car come from? How did he even get in there? What was even the point of that whole thing? That's where I was like, this movie doesn't know what it wants to be. Sometimes it's horror, sometimes it's comedy, sometimes it's just nonsense. And I couldn't figure it out.
After that whole dog scene, he's in the tree, and then the kid and the mom go out exercising, and they play that whole 80s song, and it's just a running montage with him in the tree, and I don't know what's going on.
Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, is my favorite scene in this film, is the power ballad exercise scene.
And she's every time they show them, she like rubs his head and stuff and then continues running. It's like, Mom, stop rubbing my head. It's weird. And then Mac ends up in a tree with all the dogs sitting there barking at him.
And the power ballad is still going on at this point. Yep. Like it's still playing over that scene.
And he's still up there. Like
he's stuck. All the dogs are like, are trying to get him.
I was wondering, when is this gonna end? And Mom and the kid go running right by him as he's in the tree, and he's like looking at them like, help. What the hell, dude? Come help me.
Not gonna help you. Sorry, we're power ballading her.
Yeah, power ballad. Sorry, we can't hear you with our.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Oh my god.
Oh, music in this. Wow.
But the being chased by the dogs, fantastic. Loved it.
Yeah.
And then they're chased by the police. And one of the best parts of the police chasing them is how they're running so slow, but they're purposely grimacing. Like you can see the one guy, he's trying to pretend that he's running, and he's going like half a beat.
Telling you, man, the acting in this is.
They were phoning that in, dude.
Yeah. The kid in the wheelchair isn't rolling that fast, and so they have to pretend that they can't catch up.
And then they like
one wide shot, and he's rolling so slow.
Dude, did you guys notice some of the cars though? So they're going down the opposite way of a street.
Yeah.
And one car does nick the wheelchair. And I was like, oh my God, there is no way that they had a kid do that. There's no way.
Yeah.
Because that car nicked that wheelchair. If it was a centimeter closer, it would have just knocked that wheelchair totally out. That was bonkers. I could not believe that. That was amazing.
It's a great movie, huh?
Well, it's definitely fun to reminisce about now. It's like Thanksgiving. It was more fun talking about Thanksgiving than it was watching Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
I think the McDonald's scene, though, it probably had the most going for it. Just like there's the iconic scene that Paul Rudd shares where the kid goes down the cliff and goes into the water. But just that McDonald's scene where he's dancing as the little bear on the counter and it just keeps panning to him. No one even cares that he literally flies to get onto the counter.
Flies and tumbles.
Everyone's like, whatever.
Surfs. He crowd surfs, by the way.
The dude, it's one of those new teddy bears that have like the updated microchip.
Yeah.
So you got to give him a pass for flying.
But the McDonald's employees dance in the background as he's dancing on the counter. And that's what sells it.
The cook's in the way back, too. Like, yeah, I'm doing it.
They have that classic McDonald's uniform from the 80s. It's the green shirt. I was surprised that the pants have an M on the back because the older sister also works at McDonald's, just conveniently enough. And this is where it sets up the best kind of, they don't know how to write a story example, where all of a sudden, Eric and the other little girl go down to the party. But then the exposition of what happened is discussed by both older siblings. Even though they weren't in the car, they have no idea of any of it. But they detailed the whole exposition of who Mac is, that he's in the teddy bear costume, that they're being trailed by these government guys who are trying to get him and they have to protect him. And they have the whole plan and the whole threat, even though they should be completely unaware of it. It was great.
It's because they read the script, obviously.
Yeah,
That's how they
read,
know. Yeah.
They read ahead.
Makes sense to me.
Speaking of the script, this is one thing that I found out, that the script was written in 2 weeks. And it was
Sounds about right.
The guy who wrote it pretty much held himself up in his hotel room and wrote it in his hotel room. And it took him 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then he was like, all right, done. This is first draft. Let's just shoot it.
Yeah, who needs rewrites? No.
We
golden
need
right
more
out the gate.
Skittles in this.
Yes.
E.T. had Reese's. We need Skittles.
Skittles. What's like Reese's, but not Reese's. Skittles.
Skittles.
Not M&M's. No.
Let's throw some
You're on the nose.
Coca-Cola in there. Like,
oh yes,
the Coca-Cola product placement. The fact that there was dying aliens in a cave in the middle of the desert, and the kids are like, well, let's give them Coca-Cola.
Obviously.
Oh my God. And they all came back to life.
Coca-Cola,
dude. Keep a case of Coca-Cola in your car. Because if you get into a car wreck, splash a little Coca-Cola on there, man. You're all good.
There's Coke everywhere. Coke in the store when they go there and they she takes one of the cans, the whole thing falls all Coke. It's great.
Yep.
That's when he shoots the cop. That was fantastic.
My brother took my Coke.
Yep.
Just that whole grocery scene was pretty outstanding too. That they just walk in, and again they do that waddling walk. They look like they should be underwater the entire time. But the security guard, first the manager comes and he's like, yeah, I have no idea what to do. So I'm gonna call the security guy. The security guy's like, I'm just gonna pull my gun and just scream at these aliens because they'll understand what I'm saying. That makes sense. And then all of a sudden the alien, it just allows him to hold the gun. And so then the actual cops come and they're just screaming at the alien holding the gun to put the gun down.
Guy's like, what, this?
So
like this? Oh my God, this movie is
felt
amazing.
so bad. I'm like, why? Yeah, I feel.
And then he walks out of the market with that box of goods. I don't know how he got that box or any of the stuff in it, but he's walking out with it. He has a gun and a box of goods from the grocery store.
He's ready to go, man.
That's all you need.
Anything with the dad was fantastic. His walk alone was just made. Whoever played the dad, he doesn't deserve a Razzie. He deserves a whole lot more than that, because that was incredible what he did. It's very believable.
Golden Globe. My goodness. There's
now
also a scene.
Who played the dad?
There's also a scene where he steals the Sprite from the woman in the car at the gas station and then flips her off, which is fantastic.
Well, just that whole scene where she comes
in a kid's movie,
she looks at him, and she just like does a head nod, and then he stretches over with the arm and steals the Coke or the Sprite, and then she freaks out.
Yeah. Like then?
Wait
like,
a second.
Oh, okay. Waiting.
The aliens had names?
Of course. Why would they? That's rude, Alex, to think that they didn't have names.
Speaking of names, they don't. I love the Mac designation. I wrote it down.
Of course.
They don't describe it at all, and then all of a sudden they refer to him as Mac. There's no jumping off point. There's no background information. I had to look up what Mac stood for because the movie didn't tell me. And then all of a sudden they're just like, "This is Mac."
The girl actually says it during the vacuum scene. Because she was like spelling it out for them, like why they called him Mac. Like, what's a Mac? And then she says what it is.
What mysterious alien
creature?
Yeah. Mysterious alien creature.
So the little girl says that you'd be remiss because like she's a terrible actress. So you probably were like, oh my God, why is she on screen right now talking? But she says it during that scene. They're like, oh, okay. But obviously it's because of Big Mac. That's the only reason why he's called that. They had to figure out a way to call him like what's the acronym going to be? Crap, Mac. Man.
Surprisingly, that had nothing to do with McDonald's. Isn't that crazy?
I'm sure
In my
there's
research,
something.
the
I know.
writer said,
Okay, no, hold on. The research, just FYI, the people who made this film claim that this has nothing to do with McDonald's, but it does.
Okay.
Just FYI, I'm just saying that I've done research on this film for many, many, many years.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
Clearly a McDonald's film because they're the ones that let them sponsor it and everything. So, yeah,
And that's obviously. Man, I had something I had something to go off of, but now I've already forgotten. You guys take over on something else on this movie.
Is there anything that you think that stood out to you, maybe Trevor, that you thought was actually awful? I know you said that this is more just boring than awful, but was there anything that you thought was just, oh my God, I can't believe they actually did that in a film?
So there's a sequence where Debbie gives one of the, like, once they recover, they find the 3 dead bodies that are somehow not dead, and they're recovering in the cave. She puts the jacket on the alien, and the way the alien touches her face, I thought they were gonna kiss because they both matched eyes. They both had that romantic eye look. They had this subtle hand touch to the face. The jacket's on. I was like, okay, what are we doing? Are we actually setting up a romance right here?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to rewatch this movie again now.
I love the fact that you say that they matched eyes. Of course, you're matching eyes with the thing that's got eyes the size of softballs.
They're big eyes for sure.
Those were
but
so
maybe that could have been like the sequel. Like maybe they got together and had like hybrid babies.
Yeah.
Do you think that? I was trying to think realistically what a sequel of this would be like, and I was like, well, maybe it's like, maybe they would try and play off like a Coneheads, kind of like aliens living in America type of thing. End.
Yeah, it's just the fish out of water trope over.
Yeah, that's all it's going to be. Right. It's like that. What was that show that was back in the 90s where the aliens lived among us? I'll remember it later. No one here is going to remember. It's going to be me and Ed probably. No, it was like actual. They look like people, but they had like bald heads and spots on their heads.
Like Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, but it wasn't a comedy. It was a drama. So I'll think about it later. But it's probably would be something like that. Would be my guess. Just fish out of water.
Okay, it just dawned on me what I was going to say earlier that I totally derailed the whole thing. That whole scene with the little girl and she explained what Mac was, everything like that. That was for me felt like a blatant ripoff of Ghostbusters. Like they had the having the vacuum on her back.
Ghostbusters. I mean,
yeah, she was holding it.
Them in the closet is just like Drew Barrymore in the closet in E.T.
And then the vacuum.
Ghostbusters sequence, and then she's up on the roof. That was like Poltergeist. It was pretty cool.
Oh my God, the neighborhood felt like we were back in Poltergeist again.
Yeah, it did a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like that.
I actually did too. I was like, oh, 80s California. It's like
so good.
Poltergeist is so beautiful.
Chef's kiss.
And I'm talking about old Poltergeist, not that new one with.
So something really bad though.
Yeah,
was how the firefight at the end got started. So for some reason they leave the market and it's just the aliens come out. He has his box of goods and the gun, and there's like a standoff, right? And the sheriff doesn't get the civilians out of harm's way. He literally is like, cool kids, you know these aliens, so you can just stand right here. If you die, that's fine.
Oh yeah. Everybody else get back. Kids, you stay right here.
For the older brother. For some reason, he gets handcuffed and put in the back of the cop car.
Yeah, what?
Why?
So then Eric is going to go. He's like, no, this is a problem. I'm going to go get in between the aliens and stuff. And there's the one cop who somehow goes and he tries to go around the cop car and he misses by a good few feet. But it supposedly makes him stumble and fall. Like he's supposed to trip over the cop car, but he doesn't come close to the cop car. It's a good 2 feet away, and he just stumbles and falls. And so his gun goes off, and that's what creates the firefight. But just the miss on the cop car to not even reshoot that. So maybe you should at least touch the cop car if you're going to trip over it.
So I don't remember where I saw this, but apparently that scene was re-edited because it was supposed to be him firing his gun and killing Eric, not the explosion. So I think there must have been something in the editing that made it felt like it just felt off because they removed that part of the scene.
Well,
my guess.
let's think about that scene.
Let's not.
The alien.
But yeah, okay, let's go.
No, the alien family is just walking away, and the little boy in the wheelchair, Eric, is chasing after them in his wheelchair, and then all the cops open fire.
Of course,
you've got a kid
who falls and a gunshot,
and the gun goes off, but that doesn't signify, hey, let's all just start firing our guns. There's a child in a wheelchair in the way.
There's
in the
aliens with a gun.
Exactly. It's a bigger threat.
And then it's
a casualty of war.
I still don't know why that building exploded. Like, what was in the building?
It's the gas station.
That was the gas. Yeah, but what bullet is making that explode?
Once the one fuel tank got ignited, it created that big, huge explosion. But that's the fun part where they do the green screen. They do it earlier where Mac goes above when he goes into the water. They have that fun green screen pop. But that explosion, they put the wheelchair in the front of the green screen, and there's just the big explosion, and the wheelchair is way too big in the foreground, just silhouetted out.
With a kid, with a dead kid in the wheelchair. Because that was a dead kid, man. And then the alien family comes over, just walks right after being shot at. And everybody's like, okay, I guess we don't shoot these aliens who are now walking towards us, the ones that we were very scared. And now we're just going to let them through fire, like freaking Terminator. And then they're going to sit there and watch them do a kumbaya around a dead kid. It's like, whoa. Again, they don't know what's going on.
I mean, not even Spielberg is as good, right? I mean, come on.
It's definitely a Terminator shout out as well. And then the doctor shows up, and the doctor's wearing the same suit that he was a few days ago when he first talked to Eric. He hasn't changed at all. There could be a whole side storyline on what this doctor is like. He's getting totally wasted. He hates his life. He shows up randomly saying, "Oh, he's dead." And he's like,
"They had that actor for one day."
That's it.
Realize him
like, we don't have time to change your outfit. You're just gonna come back and shoot your scene and go home, right?
And then once Eric's dead, that was some of the worst acting I've ever seen. No one could muster a tear. They couldn't cry.
That was awesome.
Not one of them could cry that Eric was dead. They just. Ooh,
I think that was the other scene. That was the other scene that had the bad dubbing. If you look at the brother is talking, and nothing he's saying is what he is actually saying. It's like so poorly dubbed. It's great.
And Mac cries multiple times in this movie.
Mac
and
did
every
more
time
crying than any of the actors.
Poor Mac.
And it was heartbreaking every time I saw him cry, because they would show the family and how the family is sitting there dying in the middle of a desert. Oh God, it was. Whew.
Just misses his family, man.
And just the government being able to hold back, to your point, to do the alien kumbaya. They're literally chasing them with cages through Sears. And then now that everything exploded and the wheelchair kid died, we're just going to chill and let these aliens do whatever they want.
They all sat back and watched.
They can't die, so apparently it's like, whatever you want.
And I guess that's what it takes to become an American citizen in this country. Yeah. Because they literally dress these aliens up in suit and ties, and it looks like the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen. I'm looking at a picture of it right now, and it's almost
a great scene.
They couldn't even get the animatronic for the one eyeball to work, because one eye just kept.
Well, the one kid is like this all the time. Like the alien kid. Yeah.
They sway constantly. Everyone else is standing still, listening to the judge, and Also, citizenship takes more than just listening to a judge tell you about America, but you're fine. They're citizens now.
And not only you guys like Big Macs, right? All right, welcome into the country.
The alien knows how to drive. All of a sudden, they have a pink Cadillac. Yeah. I'm
pink
surprised they didn't play the Bruce Springsteen song. And he drives. He can drive with one hand. He has his other hand outside, strapped in the car.
They should have put NWA on.
Yeah, man.
But the fact that why would they want to even stay here? They've been shot at. There's been explosions. People are dying around them. They were dying. Why would they even want to become? Dude,
free Coke. everywhere.
Why wouldn't they want to go back to their home planet?
Did you see how awful it was there? They like to stick straws in the ground to find anything, any sorts of nutrients. Here
They
you can go
didn't have
anywhere and get cooked.
any enemies. There was no enemies coming after
It
them.
doesn't matter. They can't die. They got shot at, blown up, everything. Nothing kills them. So, perfect. This planet's great. We're like Superman here.
Let's
They
just
are
jump
like,
back
they're
to
all
this.
like Superman. They can create
Yes.
electricity out of nowhere. They can destroy
Right?
walls just with their hand. They can bring life back just by waving their hands around and
Yeah.
dragging light from the sky.
Why would you leave?
Let's also add,
Mhm.
do you truly believe that America would have made them citizens and not dissected them almost instantly?
No, of course not. But that's a movie.
Well, there was that one scientist guy with the long hair. He showed up and he saw him explode, and he's like, okay. Because he let him go in the first part. He didn't try to apprehend him at all. So he must be essentially runs the entire country.
It must be.
Okay. But then I think about, okay, the planet that they were on, it looked like it was orbiting around Saturn. It looked like one of Saturn's planets. So obviously that planet is going to be very, very icy, icy cold. So they can walk through fire, and they can live in extreme cold weather. I mean, these aliens are pretty badass.
Well, I want a sequel now where they're essentially Superman. I need a really, really bad Superman movie where Mac is essentially Superman.
I am looking up Mac
idea.
and Me sequel right now. Let's see.
He does all the Superman stuff. They just shoot bullets at him. It doesn't matter.
That would be kind of fun. I wouldn't mind that at all. And can we just for reference, because I do like this part of the movie where they're in the traffic in the beginning in their what would you call it, van, I guess, minivan back then. I miss minivans with vinyl blinds.
With shades.
Venetian. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my god, yes.
Why did we ever get rid of that feature?
And the fact that like some of the chairs you could swivel around.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, I remember having a van we when I was a little 5-year-old that we had, like, there was a table in the middle.
Yeah, everything. It was great.
The chair around.
Oh,
It was almost like having a living room inside your car.
Good.
Why do we not have those anymore?
We're not fun anymore. The 80s were fun. We're not fun anymore.
It's
the 90s killed that.
Now those type of cars are made by like hippies who drive across country and create their own cars. They gut out vans and stuff like that, or school buses, and make their own living rooms in there. Which, by the way, is very fun to look at on Instagram. I really get into that stuff.
All right.
I know I said hippies or whatever. I could totally do it.
It's a fun way to live, man. Just live on the open road. Find your little alien friends. Oh boy. Wow. So I've, as much as I've watched this movie many times over my lifetime, I've never actually thought about it much. Like, I've never thought about like the plot or the reasons behind anything. So this was fascinating for me.
Well, did they have enough bears and cubs stuff to indicate that they're from Illinois? Or
I think
do
so.
They need a little bit more.
You know what?
No,
dude,
I think it's just the right amount.
I can't comment on that because literally the majority of my clothing has Buck stuff on it. So,
and then there's the random guy who sees Mac in the morning and he's wearing a Dodgers hat just to show that he lives in LA, and he's like, "Oh, they got strange pets here." And then Mac reads the newspaper miraculously somehow after that.
Ooh, I know how to read.
Not even just that. So the guy with the LA hat, did he not look like the dad?
No.
If you
I didn't think so.
Look at the picture. No, not the alien dad. And they
he didn't look like the alien dad. Did you notice the guy in the Dodger hat? He looked just like the alien dad. It was
definitely not what I was going for, Frog. Good God. The dad in the picture that you see at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
Yes. The man with the Dodger hat looked like the dad.
I didn't think so. I watched it again, but I didn't see a correlation there.
I seriously was watching it going, oh my God, did they find their dad? Is he in this neighborhood
Is that it?
too?
Is that what it was?
Is this the whole point of coming to California, was to try to find the dad?
Maybe. We just never knew the secret plot.
Yeah,
You never know.
that new
Maybe this is
dad
to
has
the
got a
plot.
new family, boy. You better not be following
He
him.
has a new family. The mom tracked him down.
Christine Ebersol, man.
He left to get some milk at the store, and he ended up in California.
Milk and cigarettes, and found himself in California, baby.
That's another movie too.
You're gonna be a star, kid. Just put on this
So-
Dodger hat.
One other point I wanted to your Alex's point about it being a horror movie.
Mhm.
Before the Ghostbusters sequence, Eric's setting a trap to get Mac. You know, he's putting out the Cokes and the straws, and
The
he's trying to
straws,
get him. So he's on the hunt for him. And he has his back to the window. And literally, the little girl comes over and knocks on the window. He doesn't flinch. It's not like he jumps. He doesn't even flinch. He's on edge trying to catch a creature that he doesn't know what it is. It's dark out. And there's a knock at the door. And he's like, it's the best.
I guess I should answer that.
Great acting, by the way. This thing, for those who haven't watched this movie, the acting is fantastic.
Some of the best acting was with the raccoon stunt actor. There's a sequence where there's the raccoon in the trash can, and they literally lock this raccoon in the trash can. It's totally animal abuse. Just in the
fumbling
knock
out,
it
right?
over, so the raccoon can come out and be like, "What's going on?
What is going on?
What is happening, man? You left me in the
raccoon.
paper. Nothing to
Oh.
eat. No, I remember the raccoon scene because as my little girl was sitting next to me, I said, "Ooh, look, a raccoon." And she just sat there and pointed. She called it a dog though. She goes, "Ooh, dog."
Well, kind of. Yeah. A little bit like a dog.
She loved the dog scene. Oh, and by
Dogs
the
are
way,
fun.
show this movie to 1-year-olds. My 1-year-old,
Yeah.
literally every time Mac was on screen, she lit up and she would wave. She waved to Mac every
I
time.
do too.
Practically a 1-year-old.
I do too. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I would not recommend this to anyone over the age of 6.
One.
But one. Touche.
On God.
Yeah. But I do love this movie. I think too, the reason why I love this is because I love random dance scenes in movies. That's like one of my things. Like in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, they have that big giant dance number that makes no sense. Like, how do all these people know this giant dance routine? No idea. But they all do, and it's fantastic. Twin Peaks is full of that kind of stuff. I love spontaneous random dancing for no reason. It's like, why is everyone doing a dance routine for no reason? I'm not talking about like Broadway style dancing. I'm not talking about the kind of dancing you saw in this film, where everyone's just like breakdancing for no reason. It's fantastic. More of that, please, in film.
So for the McDonald's party you guys have gone
It's called
to,
Bollywood.
do they literally
Not like
do
that stuff.
breakdancing in the parking lot?
Yeah.
That's a thing.
That was a thing in the 80s, yeah. That was a big thing in the 80s. I know.
A little kid's birthday party is going to have breakdancers in the parking lot. And it seemed like there was 2 parties going on, right?
I'm telling you, I grew up right
There's
next
the
to one. It
parking
happened all
lot
the
party,
time.
and then there's the inside
Yes.
the McDonald's party.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then the FBI
No joke. I
agents,
witnessed this with my own eyes before it happens.
I'm wondering
It's
if you
strange.
witnessed the fact that the FBI guys all show up at the McDonald's and all the dancers
Yeah,
surround
they block
them.
them.
Like, why? Why are you doing that to these people? Get away from them. Dude, I'm
And the
trying to get
football
a
players.
Big Mac.
The football players that show up that look like they're 45 years old.
Hold on. And
It's
why
crazy.
were they Washington Redskins?
I
What's
don't know,
the
it's
deal with that?
hilarious. Oh my god, it's so random. I love how random this movie is. It's
Like,
great.
they could have dressed them up as, like, the San Francisco 49ers, but they,
No, can't have it make sense. No,
of course
please.
not.
Please.
Wait,
No.
why were they there? I didn't catch that either.
Who knows?
Who
Great
knows?
about it.
Because an alien is trying to escape NASA.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, okay, if this was, I know that NASA was really big in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why NASA would want to slap their name on all these movies that depict NASA as bad
That's
guys.
bad. I don't know. I've thought about this many times and I have no
I
idea.
just thought about it right now, and I'm like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense at all. Maybe that's why we're
guess-
not going to the moon or anything. We're not funding him because they're bad guys.
Maybe. Maybe.
It's also fun how scientifically Eric pretty much says they asked what happens if they have diseases, and he says they don't have diseases, and that was it. Everybody dropped the topic.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
The little
Eric
kid in
said
the
it. The
wheelchair
little
said
kid,
it.
he
Oh.
knows.
Science, people.
So
Science.
everybody in this film, pretty much, who interacted with the aliens died. If you think that people died from smallpox just when people crossed continents, could you imagine if another species from a different planet came? Also, the aliens would probably die from all the diseases of humans. I think everyone died within like 2 weeks of this film.
Most likely, yeah. That's
But
why
just
there's no
say they don't
sequel.
have diseases.
Yeah.
On your way to Palmdale, which is not 20 miles away from Calabasas, it's more like 60 miles.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh
Small detail.
boy. Small
Yeah,
detail.
small details.
Small detail.
Okay, here's another small detail. The fact that the 3 or the 4 aliens get sucked up into a spaceship circling Saturn. How many months or years does that take to get back to Earth with no food or water?
It's a couple days, a day maybe.
I know.
Yeah,
this
one
is
day.
80s NASA tech, man.
I guess
this is
that's
quick.
fast.
I was sitting there
Yeah.
thinking, oh, maybe it's like 3 months or something. No, dude, that because in the movie they make it like, oh yeah,
the
that
80s.
planet is next door,
Well,
dude.
it's funny because it was like a Mars rover type of thing. And so,
Floating around.
yeah, if they're sending the Mars rover takes a good 3 months today. Back in the 80s to get to Saturn, that takes like a year or 2 years.
Well,
They're all like skeletons. They come out like, oh my god.
Well, okay, so the fact
was
that the Voyager, what I believe it was called Voyager, the satellite that we shot into space.
Yeah, that one's from like 78. Yeah.
Yeah, it just recently, I want to say within the last 10 years, just left our solar system. Like that's a long time.
Yeah, it left
to
in
get that far.
78.
Yeah.
Saturn's pretty far out there.
Saturn's really far out there, dude.
Far out, man.
Yeah, bro.
Totally rad. They say that a few times in this movie.
Yeah, totally rad.
80s.
Well, they're in California.
Yeah, everything's
But
totally
they're
rad
from
in California,
Illinois.
man. Whoops.
Oh, anyways.
Continuity errors. Why
Well,
don't you come by and have a Big Mac?
I feel like there was a ton of plot holes, but it fits with the absurdity. It's more just transitioning of the bad acting and just not caring about the continuity of the story. They created a story. I understand it's absurd. There's aliens, but once you get to the alien story, you don't have to terribly act your way through. For some reason, the biggest plot holes were just interaction with one another, not interactions with the aliens. That's what was so amazing.
Yeah, it's great, huh?
yeah.
Oh, what a turkey.
I wish this movie was an hour and 10 minutes. That's what Thanksgiving had going for it.
Oh, you get more time with these wonderful cast of characters.
It was what? Maybe an extra 10 minutes
It was
tacked
an
on?
hour and 40 minutes. It just didn't end. I paused it like 10 times to see how much time was left.
Oh my god, no way that this was an hour and 40 minutes.
There's a lot that happens in this movie, yeah.
So much happens. The McDonald's scene itself was 30 minutes.
Yeah, this is great.
Okay, yeah, you're right. That scene alone was pretty bad.
Because you have Ronald McDonald going to like every table doing different things and making balloon animals and all sorts of
It
stuff.
took 30 minutes just to introduce that they moved here before we even get like that the aliens are interacting with them.
An hour and 39 minutes. You're absolutely right. Look at that.
Like that car ride was a long time where he looks out the window and goes, wow, look at all the cars.
Oh my god.
That was one of the best parts because that's when they knew they were in a good area.
Yeah.
He said, look at all the cars. Wow, Mom, you found a good area. That was the reason that the mom found a good area.
I don't take notes for these episodes ever.
I forgot.
But literally, that was one of my notes that says, hey, look at all the cars. This looks pretty nice.
That's how you know that it's
pretty nice. So just FYI, for those listening,
and the 101.
For those listening at home, Mystery Science Theater 3000 did an episode during Thanksgiving a few years ago on this film, and it is one of the greatest things you will ever watch in your life. they rip this to shreds, and it is fantastic. And
Great.
they love that scene. That scene is like iconic. So it's pretty nice.
But one thing that we didn't mention that I thought was probably one of the best parts of this movie was the score. It was Alan
Silvestri. Oh man, oh yeah,
absolutely incredible. He did a great job on the score, because even at the very beginning, I was like, wow, this is really whimsical and nice. And then boom, Alan's music by Alan Silvestri. I'm like, hell yeah, all right, I'm in on this.
His music was poorly edited together, but the music itself was good, I will say.
Okay, when you think,
like I told you, it was the Predator soundtrack.
Yeah, it was like all mixed, like all weird. Like, what is going on here?
And then it was the ET soundtrack.
Yeah,
they changed.
I think
a few
that's why I liked it,
to not get sued.
Oh no, he purposely made it just like ET.
But that's the thing, ET and Predator. I love those movies. I love the music in those movies. So hell yeah, maybe that's why I'm all in on it.
Watch ET and Predator.
That's true.
I love
cheap
rip-offs though.
It's good to broaden your horizons, brother. That's why we're here.
I don't know if this broadens your horizons at all.
We're going to change the name to our podcast, Broadening Your Horizons, watching really bad movies. Wow. Had to edit horizons.
Indeed.
Oh, are we going to talk as long as the movie goes? Because we're getting...
I've been done for a while, but if you guys want to keep talking, it's up to you.
It feels like we keep ending it, but then we keep going.
Some of us do, yes. But I am done talking about this film now.
Same with me.
Okay.
Trevor, end it for us.
So remember, everyone, this is called Mac and Me. Please save yourself brain cells to not have the unfortunate distinction to have known I watched Mac and Me. Don't ever say that to anyone in your life. Don't do it.
Or just get ripped and then watch the movie. That's probably the best way to watch this.
Sorry, watch.
I don't know. I don't think it was kooky enough for that. I feel like
hard enough, man.
Did a better job.
You thought which movie?
I think Thanksgiving was my favorite of the bad movies.
Oh, that was a great movie.
No,
oh, yeah.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. This is definitely. I just like how well made this was.
It's really well done. It's really classy.
Well, I am glad November's over, and I'm glad that we don't have to do these turkeys anymore.
Maybe.
What are we going to talk about next?
What does December bring?
Don't know. We'll
Stay tuned and find out.
Till then, we hope you enjoyed. Be for sure to follow at Secondary Heroes everywhere. And we'll talk to you next time.
Prague out.
Adios, y'all.